Hey guys, this is a video to get us started on the Amatrol e-learning. I'm sitting here trying to put things together and get everything switched over to Brightspace and looking at all the time that it takes to get all that done. And I will definitely continue with those efforts. But we've got this wonderful resource available to you, this Amatrol e-learning with a virtual lab. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the particulars of getting started with that. And then the plan is, and I'll share specifics in terms of the instructions with you too, but I think what we can do is go through these things, get the background information, do the virtual hookups and so forth. And then what I'm going to do in April is I'm going to be completely double dosed with COVID vaccination by then. And I'm going to, based on your availability, invite you to the lab to come in person, and then we can recreate these labs. And I'll set it up to where, it'll be basically, you're observing and connecting and reproducing these circuits that you've already done this background work on. And I think that'll be really good for us to actually put hands on. I don't think that I could even require you to come in to do these, but at the same time, I think you'd get a lot out of being able to come in and connect. So first off, let me just get you familiar with the Amatrol e-learning and make sure you're on the right page with me. Okay, so once you get to the Amatrol site, you should see this screen, the Amatrol, and you may even start with the Google just Amatrol e-learning. And then so you should see this screen. This is not about the getting your access code and all that. I've got that information separate, but this is just to show you what it should look like once you get there. Okay, and then what you should do is go on to e-learning courses, and then Amatrol e-learning, go to the custom courses, and we're going to do the, which one do we say? I think we said, let me go back here and look right quick. We're doing the spring, okay, so we're doing spring, and so that would look like here, and even though this says 135, it's just mislabeled. So we're going here, and these are the courses that we'll be looking at doing. All right, so for the most part, we won't be looking at the view quiz. There'll be primarily two things that we'll do initially. The main thing here is to go into launch. Now, the skill PDF, that will be something that we will look at when we're actually in the lab, okay? So that is not now, that will be later. And so what we're doing currently is, what we'll do initially, I guess I should say, is we'll just simply go to our first lab, and there are 10 of these. So, they're well worth our time. And this is what we would actually be doing physically if we are there. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to make that available to you in April. So I'm going to launch the course, and it's going to look like this. Okay. So Introduction to Electric Motor Control. And, we'll have these three things that we'll go through. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go through the initial segment one. I'm gonna skip on over to three-phase power, and I'm going to get to, you'll be walking through this. So for instance, I mean, you're here, right, and you'll be going through this thing. So we've already listed, you know, you go this, you know, segments and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go to the first skill and just show you how this thing works. So we'll go to skill 2, and it says using a voltmeter. Yeah, what he said. Okay. And then so we're going to go here. Now, when it references the I want you to use this later first. Now, it may take you a little while for your computer to lessen your trainers. And you have smaller right now so that I can see it all at one time. I'm going to hide this. And, you know, just to sort of walk you through this thing, you know, this will be our 3-phase power that we will be utilizing. And this is our line connect, and we'll put it on and turn it off. This is a control transformer. We'll bring in a single phase of power, which for us will be 208 volts, and we'll be outputting 120 volts. Okay. Now, as you go through this, and again, I'm sort of paraphrasing this tutorial over here. You've got maintenance, where you can remove leads, repair all components, restore initial lead configuration, toggle the power, toggle the lockout. You know, you got this lockout tagout thing here, and you know, here it's showing that this is locked out. And if I go to turn it on, it's not going to let me do that. Okay, so that's the lockout function that, you know, we'll actually see that in the lab as well. And, you know, so now the lockout's off. You've got different settings. Just leave it at default. And right now we're looking at tutorial. So I'm going to click on the actual instructions for this particular lab. Okay. And so we're going to verify using a voltmeter to supply the, verify the supply voltage. All right, and then it's walking us through this. Here's our safety process. Of course, I want you reading through all this, but I don't want to make this video too long. And then, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the basics of how to make these connections that it's talking about. So as you're reading through this, you know, it says, you know, find the DMM. So here it is. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to verify the supply voltage. And the way that works is I'm going to take one lead, I'm going to place it here, I'm going to place another lead here, and then I'm going to be measuring an AC voltage. So I need to, you know, use my meter, and this is AC and this is DC. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a sine wave on top of that V, and that's a straight flat line across there. That's DC, that's AC. Now, once we do that, then it says, you know, I want to turn the power on. And of course, I'm reading 208 volts. Now, I'm going to take the power off. And of course, again, this is all a virtual environment, but we kind of want to try to get used to doing the same way we would do if we were in the lab. Okay, so you know, I wouldn't want to do this with the power on. You know, I want to get used to doing that. So I changed the leads, then I turned the power back on. So I go from phase 1 to 3. I read 208 volts again. right? So it's pretty neat what you see here. Then the last thing, it says go from 2 to 3, phase 2 to 3. So I power it off. I take my positive lead, and some of this is a little bit, it takes a little while. You just have to mess with it a little bit and get used to the way that this thing functions. And then I'm going to power up. And again, I'm reading 208. So as I went between, the 3 phases of electricity, I got, 208 from 1 to 2, from 1 to 3, and from 2 to 3. And so, that's really all you're doing with these things. You're verifying this. I will ask you for certain situations that maybe I want to get you to show me a particular hookup. And so this might not be the greatest one to show you, but one way I could get there is I could do a snip, right? And I might ask you to do that. And it might just be something like, take this screenshot and then file, and I might have you copy that. Then I might have you take a Word document and paste it in there to a new Word doc. Okay. And so let's let this come up, and then I might Control V. And there I've got my circuit. Then I might have you put a label on this, and I'll give you the particulars on that. But that's, that's kind of how it's going to flow with this. And so I'll just have you verify some of these documents as you go through. All right. So, I think I've given you, pretty good background on this, just enough. And, these are really good. And so instead of us just waiting around for me to get stuff reorganized and implemented into Brightspace, I'm going to have you get going on this. I'll keep working on the other stuff in the background, and we're going to get some stuff done. It's going to be good. You're going to get some good information from this, and we'll go from there. Okay. So let me stop the video here now, and I'll be supplying this and others to you and give you particulars on each one of these, and we'll go from there.